Imagine you are sitting in a small room. The room is quiet. The walls are bare. There is no money on the table. No successful company. No famous castle. No crowds of smiling children. Just a young man with a pencil in his hand. He looks down at a piece of paper and begins to draw. A mouse. A simple little mouse. At that moment, nobody knows that this drawing will change the world. Nobody knows that one day millions of people will visit places built from his imagination. Nobody knows that his stories will be loved by children and adults across the globe. But the young man believes. He believes in an idea. He believes in a dream. And that dream is about to become something extraordinary. Who is this young man? How did a boy from a poor family become one of the most famous storytellers in history? And how did a simple cartoon mouse help build one of the largest entertainment companies in the world? Stay with me, because today, we are going to travel back in time and discover the remarkable story of Walt Disney. And it all begins on a farm. Far away from the bright lights of Hollywood. The year was 1901. In the city of Chicago, Illinois, a baby boy was born. His name was Walter Elias Disney. Most people would later know him simply as Walt Disney. When Walt was still young, his family moved to a farm in Missouri. Life on the farm was simple. There were animals, fields, trees, and long days of hard work. But young Walt noticed things that other people often ignored. He watched the animals carefully. He loved their movements. He loved their personalities. And he loved drawing them. Sometimes he would sit quietly and sketch horses, chickens, and rabbits. Drawing made him happy. It allowed him to enter a world of imagination. A world where anything was possible. But life was not always easy. Walt's father was strict. Very strict. He believed in hard work. Children were expected to help. There was little time for dreaming. Little time for drawing. Yet Walt continued. Because something inside him would not let go. A creative spark was growing. And that spark would soon face its first great challenge. What happened next would teach Walt an important lesson. A lesson about perseverance. A lesson he would never forget. As Walt grew older, his family faced financial difficulties. Money was often a problem. The family moved several times. Nothing felt stable. But Walt continued to dream. He loved cartoons. He loved stories. And he loved making people smile. When he was a teenager, the world was changing. The First World War had begun. Walt wanted to help. He was too young to join the army. So he joined the Red Cross instead. Soon, he found himself in France. Not as a soldier, but as an ambulance driver. Even there, Walt could not stop drawing. He covered his ambulance with cartoons and sketches. Wherever he went, his imagination followed him. When the war ended, Walt returned home. Like many young people, he needed to decide what to do with his life. He could choose safety. He could choose a normal job. But Walt wanted something different. He wanted to create. He wanted to tell stories. He wanted to build something the world had never seen before. But dreams are often tested before they become reality. And Walt's first big business would end in failure. In the early 1920s, Walt started a small animation company. He worked hard. Very hard. He spent long hours creating cartoons. He believed success was just around the corner. But success did not come. The company struggled. Bills grew larger. Money disappeared. Eventually, The business failed. Walt lost almost everything. Imagine that moment. You have worked for years. You have given everything you have. And suddenly it is gone. Many people would have quit. Many people would have accepted defeat. But Walt was different. Instead of giving up, he packed a suitcase. He bought a train ticket. And he traveled west. To Hollywood. He arrived with little money. Few possessions. And a dream that refused to die. What happened there would change history forever. Hollywood was already becoming the center of entertainment. But Walt was not a famous filmmaker. He was simply another young man searching for an opportunity. Together with his brother Roy, he started a new company. Slowly, they began creating animated films. At first, things seemed promising. Then disaster struck. Walt lost the rights to one of his most successful cartoon characters. It was a painful setback. Years of work disappeared. Once again, many people would have quit. But not Walt. During a train journey, he began thinking. Thinking about new ideas. Thinking about new characters. And then inspiration arrived. A small mouse. Friendly. Funny. Optimistic. His name was Mickey Mouse. That little character would soon become famous around the world. But Walt was not finished. Not even close. Because another revolution was coming. And many people believed Walt Disney was making a terrible mistake. In the 1930s, cartoons were usually short. Just a few minutes long. Nobody believed audiences would sit through a full-length animated movie. Nobody except Walt Disney. He had a vision. He wanted to create something larger. Something magical. Something unforgettable. The project was called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Many people laughed. Some people even called it Disney's folly. They believed it would fail. The production was expensive. Very expensive. Walt risked everything. His money. His company. His reputation. Everything. For years, his team worked tirelessly. And finally, in 1937, the film was released. The result was astonishing. Audiences loved it. People laughed. People cried. People returned again and again. The movie became a huge success. And suddenly, the world saw animation differently. Walt had proven that dreams could become reality. But his biggest dream had not yet been built. Not yet. As the years passed, Walt continued creating new stories. Pinocchio. Cinderella. Peter Pan. Sleeping Beauty. The list kept growing. Millions of children grew up watching Disney films. Yet Walt wanted more. He wanted families to experience magic together. Not just on a screen. In real life. This idea became Disneyland. Many people doubted him. Again. Some thought it was impossible. Others thought it was too expensive. But Walt had heard doubts before. And he never allowed doubt to control his future. In 1955, Disneyland opened in California. Families arrived from across the country. Children walked through lands they had only imagined. Stories came to life. Dreams became real. It was unlike anything people had ever seen. And it became a huge success. Walt Disney had built more than a park. He had built a world of imagination. By the 1960s, Walt Disney was one of the most famous people in America. His company was growing. His ideas continued inspiring millions. But time moves forward for everyone. even dreamers. In 1966, Walt Disney became seriously ill. And later that year, he passed away. He was 65 years old. The world was shocked. Millions mourned his death. But something remarkable happened. His dream did not die. The company continued. The stories continued. The imagination continued. Today, Disney parks welcome millions of visitors every year. Disney characters are known in nearly every corner of the world. And it all began with one boy. A boy who loved to draw. And so, my friends, the story of Walt Disney comes to an end. But what can we learn from his journey? Walt Disney was not born rich. He was not born famous. His first company failed. He lost money. He faced criticism. People laughed at his ideas. People told him he would fail. Yet he continued. Again and again. He chose persistence over fear. He chose imagination over doubt. And that decision changed his life forever. Perhaps there is something in your life that feels difficult right now. Perhaps there is a dream you have not given up on. Or perhaps you are learning English. Some days it feels easy. Other days it feels impossible. But remember this. Every great journey begins with a small step. Every great success begins with someone refusing to quit. Walt Disney did not build a kingdom in a single day. He built it one idea at a time. One drawing at a time. One step at a time. And you can do the same. Thank you for joining me on this journey through history. Now I would love to hear from you. What is your favorite Disney character, and why? Leave your answer in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story and learned something new today, don't forget to subscribe to Timeless English for more inspiring stories from history. Until next time, my friends. Take care of yourselves. Keep learning. Keep dreaming. And never stop believing in what is possible.